Same again.
I knew he wasn't a Jedi all along. For Team Heretics, 5v5 on the defensive side. This is going to be a big test. KC, we know that they're going to be pretty comfortable when it comes to Sunset, not least because they picked it, but with some results that are already in. And we're starting it off with some trades, but Team Heretics standing ahead. 4 versus 3, and the attempt to push through mid from KC has not worked, but they've managed to thread the needle with Magnum, and potentially will have a timing later on in the round. I mean, it's all about his pathing on that site. And his teammates making some noise potentially around middle to distract, but they've not. They've gone back to main, they've crept into site, looking just to take advantage of the space. The man disadvantage is still lingering over their heads.
Look for a second, like Magnum might be given a little bit of an opportunity, but isn't going to be able to find those shots. Spike will be planted. A couple of players rotating in as well. I'm more looking at Miniboo. He's always the one to take the space for the team, a little bit of support. They also have a fragment to try and clear this close angle up, but they've got to be careful of the trip, and they're not.
Even blinded, he's made it work. Nice stuff for Patatek. They've still got a little bit more work to do because Magnum is putting up a fight on backside, down to 21. And the wall bang to eliminate him, with Tamazi taking the brunt of the damage. That's a defuse for Team Heretics, a first round in the bag.
Yeah, and a big round, another one coming out of Patatek. I sort of was bringing this conversation up earlier, but where does he rank for you in terms of the standings that we've seen? Because we've had a lot of insane standings throughout the entirety of the VCT.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, could talk about CGRS. I feel like that's a big boy. You got Cider,
Cider is obviously going to be a highlight for me. The man came into an international event, delivered on a level that we couldn't imagine, but for Team Heretics, I think that squad is looking as if they don't have a stand-in. They're playing so well, and I think it speaks to the system that they've built as a roster. I don't know. Like, Patatek in my mind wouldn't come in and deliver a top-level performance. He'd be good, but he's been great in this roster.
I think also he'd be good individually, but he has been a huge piece of the puzzle in terms of setting up and interplay between the team. I've been really impressed with him overall. A very aggressive move from Martine. He's actually going to come up with a double. The Shorty combining with the Spectre he found has somehow made this round look competitive. And again, it's looking like they've got a good opportunity to get in onto the site. The Dizzy is going to make it so that they have to fall back and all play from the same position. They've got to be careful of that trip again, but it isn't gone up just yet.
No, it doesn't look like it will go up. Great stun in the corner. 2 players unable to fight, or at least you'd think. Now, Right still gets away with one, but the trades come in, leaving a 20 HP. Shin with a classic to do it all, and somehow he's done it. KC will not let this one slip. They're back in 1-1.
So one of the things I wanted to highlight in this map is that both of these teams, in their victories, have had really strong defensive side. And I think that's away from the norm when you look at, like, for example, teams like Vitality, who are playing this map to a higher level. They were normally pretty good on the attack. The victory that we saw against Na'Vi was an 8-4 defensive half coming out from the side of Heretics. And on the other side, every single win that KC have had has been 8+ rounds on the defense. So both proving that for these two teams, it should lean in that direction. I think a lot of that for KC, though, is very different to what we see from Heretics. I think Benji did a fantastic job of holding down one side of the map, whereas for KC, it's actually their retakes, which are really, really difficult to play against, especially with the utility and just raw ability of Narrate.
And there's some players to fall back on there. It's been really impressive seeing the depth that KC can bring to the table. For Team Heretics as well, though, it's that combination. Your Miniboo absolutely popping off. Benji is an insane, as you said, both his lurking and his just solo side holds were nuts. On this map in particular, I recall multiple rounds where they would go out on B and he would pick up 3. Make it look very easy. Get out of there with mostly full HP as well. Definitely going to be a threat for this squad as time ticks on. For now, 50 seconds on the clock, and as we can see, the defensive side doesn't have a lot, mostly Sheriffs, and that's when you group up. They decided to group up on B, put the numbers there, but the push hasn't come through, and their rotate is a little late. They might be stuck looking for a retake on the A side here. It's not very many favorable fights they can take.
Yeah, a lot of teams in this sort of position might even opt to just try and play some exits, do some damage, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Miniboo already finding an opener. Makes this round at least a little bit more interesting. Magnum has the cam set up and destroyed immediately. The Paranoia has blinded basically the entirety of the team, and they just swing out together, but it's mostly going the way of Carmine Corp. Benji finding the rifle, but the re-swing from Shin leaves just Benji standing, and through the AWP will go down. 2-1. A little bit costly for KC, but bear in mind a lot of what they had was saved from the previous round anyway, or at least what Shin had, so they still have the finances to play with.
Yeah, there's only going to be 1 or 2 players who start to reach the lower end of the credit spectrum. I think all in all, they can be pretty happy, especially with the dueling power we've seen on the other side. Heretics certainly putting up a fight, but they've lost that lead now. It's in the hands of KC, 2 in a row. Rifles out, Thrash online for this KC squad, so a big danger if you're on the defensive side, putting all your credits on the line across the board. You don't expect this kind of a play, this kind of aggression out of Miniboo! The stakes were so high for Heretics here, risking the map flying out of their control, and their solution is to send Miniboo on a suicide mission. We saw him do this the last time they played the map, and it was a disaster. Not so much this time.
Yeah, it was very hit and miss. Either he did that or he died immediately, and at the moment, all he's doing is taking over the round. Again, worth noting, a fantastic supportive flash out of Paditek. Again, these are the sort of plays that I'm talking about. Putting that utility in place. Normally you see those assists coming through because he's throwing a KO knife, not because he's got the flashes on the board. Now for the remaining players of KC, it's trying to almost just recover something here. Dropping a few guns, not allowing those orbs up, maybe getting a plant for a few extra credits. It's not a pretty scenario, and in fact, with 45 seconds left on the clock, they might actually just save. We'll see if they're going to go rotating around. It seems like they put a smoke down onto B, maybe just to sell a ruse, but I don't think they're playing this round anymore. No. This is a 30-second save. A devastating blow from the side of Heretics.
30 seconds left.
And like you said, Tom, right? You have that flash coming out of Paditek. It's left the whole squad blind. I mean, their heads were like candles on a birthday cake. They didn't stand a chance. I thought Ryan was back in the studio. But for KC, they're not left in the best of position. Their economy, like we said, there's 2 players who don't have credits, so those 2 carried over rifles will give them a lot to work with. And I think they can thank their lucky stars that Heretics didn't get antsy, didn't go for any aggressive plays, because Heretics could easily take these weapons out of their hands. But as that time goes all the way over, you can see 2-2. 2 weapons recovered. A full buy possible for KC. They're not letting it slip just yet. And like we said, they have got some ultis. And look at that. The pop is absolutely perfect. The slide around,
so
and it's
blind.
Clean.
They are so blind. And that's the thing. We can start talking about some of the numbers we have in this server at the moment. A lot of them are going to be Miniboo, I'll be honest with you. I think he's #1 on like ACS, ADR. He's even #1 on clutch percentage, which considering he's entry fragging is ridiculous. He's #1 on first kills. And actually has a really good ratio with his first deaths, which is absurd. But one of the more interesting ones is Narrate's up there in a lot of them. Even playing the Initiator, he's #3 on ADR, same for ACS. And talking of assists, #3, Paditek. He's been fantastic, consistent all the way through. I think #1 is Chronicle, so tough man to beat. And also, it only counted 2 games. Whereas, well, Heretics have played 1 more. KC have played a lot more games.
Yeah, they had a tougher run through the tournament, thanks to these boys. Oh, that stun is pretty rough for Magnum, but they don't know he's there. They haven't cleared it. He's unstunned, but Benji's getting the better of him. The ult immediately used, and that's a lurker killed. They know that. They've seen all these bodies towards the A site. You can see the reveals popping up as Rianz fires through some shock darts. Just an attempt to slow them down. As we can see, the rotates have taken place. Paditek now in position, as well as Boo helping him out, and helping him out he is. 2 quick kills, Paranoia through, Rienz picks up 1 in the chaos, and they're set up perfectly to close the round. Really good stall from Heretics, a great execution when it came down to it.
Yeah, I think again you see the interplay. Like even when you like Karma and Corp are able to isolate one of these players on the other side. Firstly, this initial duel, there's a trade immediately. Secondly, this initial fight, there's Boo as well, just to support. Like there's never an easy battle, and I think that's a lot of what you need on this attack inside is you see teams trying to isolate the duel. You're gonna watch it from Miniboo just sliding into angles in the next half. Like those early fights are so important for the attack side. And when you fall into that sort of stack up of players, well, you can't really expect KC to come out on top. Now this round's a little bit more interesting because, Mitch, although the finances suck, there's still opportunities here for KC because of the ults.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? A Thrash finding its mark here, Martine's going to be on you immediately. And obviously the showstopper, it's a little bit devastating on its own. There's certainly potential for this squad on the attack. They've made noise B, they've made noise mid, and the ultimate plan is to catch this player pushing up, but it has not worked out. Boo is putting a stop to this here and now. No potential has been realized, but still some remains. Martin and Narrate, those two powerful ults, not likely to be used, but they have got rifles. Picked up the first at least. Miniboo, though, avenges his brother and leaves Narrate with 45 HP and 4 opponents to take down. 3 opponents to take down.
Yeah, he's still someone you have to be careful of. 45 HP, though, and they are all lining up ready, like a firing squad to take him out. Great round, and that's the thing. There are a lot of boos around at the moment. I've seen Mama Boo hanging out. She must be incredibly proud. Both of her sons, pro players. I don't know what my mum thinks. Looking at me going, well, I've got one. You can do that. But they've been so impressive throughout this tournament. Like, they've been leading the charts for the majority of the event. And the fact that Boo has gone from a player last year, where you're talking about someone that we weren't even sure if he'd be around. Like, with how poorly Heretics did, they invested in him again, and it was worth it. He's been incredible, and his brother said it in one of the interviews. He had it all along. Maybe the support wasn't there.
Oh, here we go. Thrash right off rip. Narrate's looking for someone, and he has been caught. Thrash not going to get as much ground as you'd hope. The trap wire saving them, but now they've got another space-taking tool, or at least they thought they had. Quick kill by Benji, and the support from Panatek. Rian's and Miniboo doubling up. This is looking beautiful from Team Heretics. And, well, an Andalusia flawless, it certainly feels like it. They had compliments from Benji Fishy about their retake. On the other side, it wasn't even a retake. They actually stopped their opponents before they could get in, and they've done it again. This is looking devastating for KC.
Yeah, a pause as well, because of all the maps that we've got sort of coming up, this is the one where you look at them to be most favored in this series. Like, it is, obviously, they had a troublesome time last time out when they played versus Heretics in general. They got absolutely destroyed. But on this map, at least, you're looking at a 13-4 versus Koi, a 13-8 versus Vitality, and a 13-7 versus Foot. At least 2 of those you consider to be big names. The other one, well, they got a new team. We'll give them a little bit of a break. But the fact is, the expectations coming in here are high. As said, they're very good on that defensive side, but you've got to leave yourself some wiggle room. You know that if you let Miniboo run away like this and he goes onto the attack, he's shredding you on the attack as well. Like, he goes, well, I've already got 20 kills. I might as well go for 30 while I'm there. So I think this is already a pretty dangerous ground. I will say, though, I haven't looked into this at all, but it always feels like whenever Eng takes a pause, the next round, or maybe the next buy round, normally goes pretty well for the side of KC.
Pretty valuable being able to lean on that coaching staff. And you know, it's not just the vibe of the players down on the stage. We saw this coaching cam, and it's rare to see Weber and Neilzinho giving it like this. In fact, I'll make a request. Can we get a replay package of just those? Because I've seen at least 3 rounds where they've just been laughing their asses off.
All I'm going to say is, you better make sure you win this map, guys, because KC fans do not forget. they will be coming for you.
We're more important.
They will be coming for you.
Oh, well. Let them come. As Optimus Prime said. For KC, like you said, they're dangerous here. It is a round where they've got a lot of SMGs to work with. 3 Stingers, a Spectre, and a Sheriff on the side of Carmine Corp. And they're spread out in their defaults, taking control of the map, possibly looking for some orbs as well to farm up. Look, Tamazi is only 1 away from having his Viper's Pit to play with. Plant could get that online, and, well, those Stingers and Spectres will look a lot more dangerous if they're playing inside the pit. There's an orb right there.
Yeah, the only thing is it gives away their plan. Like, for the most part, right now, Heretics are somewhat guessing. It seems like they've guessed correctly because they've already cleared out B main. Paranoia, though, is already going to find them that opener. Martin with the first kill. And with these Stingers up close, you do have to be a little bit more careful if you're on the Heretics side. Boo from above. This is an angle we've seen quite a few players try and sit in. And well, there you go. There is that Viper's Pit after the plant. Instead, Boo actually goes up above. And if he drops down, he's actually going to Goomba stomp someone instead.
It's a tough decision here. I mean, he is really playing blind in this, but that reveal certainly helped him out. It's only Martin down. Those weapons still so dangerous. They can catch a close fight inside of Viper's Pit. Flash is good. It's kept them back. Heretics slowing on the way through. They've already lost Panatek. The drop is good, though. That's the pit down. He gives his life for it, but a chance now for Benji. Never mind. Quickly shut down by Shin. And Magnum had the trade either way. Like you said, Tom, KC, after the pauses, their win rate seems to go up. And, well, they've found a win.
I also said be careful with the laughing.
It's true. It's true. Lesson learned. Look at the speed of Martin there. You can see Miniboo immediately turns. He popped his abilities trying to speed his way out of there, but there was no fast lane for him, unfortunately.
Nice. Let's go, boys.
It's on the highway to hell.
Nice.
5 to 3.
Boys.
As you can see, Eng is ecstatic.
As he's ever been.
That's the happiest he's ever been. Him and Nats were a match made in heaven, obviously.
Poison's off.
Nonetheless, it's put KC back on the map, but now they go back to this slower style of play. Like, you have to bear in mind, a lot of that was around an explosive start to the round, where normally you'd had quite aggressive positions from Heretics, as they do now. But that round they were playing passive because they were up against an eco, and then the Viper's Pit, which of course is not online anymore. The only thing available is that from the Shadows, which for most people other than Mystic doesn't have high impact.
Yeah, rotational ultimate a lot of the time. A very slow approach from KC. And you see a rotation in from Nares. Again, not having a trap inside B main, they've got to be worried about anybody having pushed up. But with the spike being on A, it's a weird one. I think they're faking A. Paranoia used, Martin creeps up, makes some noise, and then they start to step back. We can see the rotate. Just take a look up towards the spawn. You already have players on their way.
30 seconds left.
Patatek moved across middle. He's caught Magnum. But then in comes the play from Martin, and it's not done well. That flash was perfect.
Yeah, again, Narrate's utility is on point. Unfortunately, too many fish. Not able to hit the target. And also, other than Benji, the players, at least most of them are healthy. Trying to get this back into a winnable position is not going to be easy. And now the stun's going through. Counter flash is excellent, but the paranoia has left them so blind. And now, well, it's going to be the leading of the charge from Miniboo. So much damage being done, leaving just Tomazi to try and fight back. But he will not be able to. The blip on the radar is quickly fixed. And Heretics are going to double up once again.
Well, I think Uli's happy with how things are going so far. Patatek was looking there. He started his rotation, actually filled in the gap that they were looking to exploit, so it's backfired a little bit on the side of KC. Immediate answer back. It was 4 in a row. What do you think, Tom? Any ideas?
Let's flipping go.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or maybe it was fudging. I don't know.
One of them. It could be. I think, yeah, we'll have to start a Twitch poll.
50-50. There's no other options.
No third option needed.
And we don't want your suggestions.
Yeah, user submitted suggestions. Not happening for this one.
Banned, in fact.
Unfortunately. Well, round number 10 kicking off, and Team Heretics, a slow and steady start, but they're chipping away at this. The defense is looking decent. 9 rounds still possible at the half, and KC have weaker weapons. So this round win looking likely for the defense, but this is where KC have been able to pull out some of those wins. One of them, most recently, on the attack. They have been very patient. They've tried to push and pull this map and bait Heretics into over-rotations, but I think Heretics have been decently patient. I wonder how much of that is Miniboo being able to speedily cover those gaps.
I think it's also just they're really confident in Benji. Like, they are more than happy to go, okay, we can gamble a third player over to A because he's going to do a good job to delay. And especially if he has some supportive utility. Through they go. There he is with Rians, the support, and then ready for the split to come in from behind. He's so aware of all of the positions. And it's actually Rians to snap back. In fact, he's cleaning up, leaving just Shin remaining. And look how aware they are of this last man's position. It doesn't matter. He still lands the shot, but it's Rians again. Another round on the board, and well, it's nice when you can talk about something and it almost immediately comes up. Just a perfect little combination between the two players in market. And right now, these explosive takes on towards that B site have just not been working out for them.
No, I mean, there's a couple of things not working out for them right now, but I actually really like that approach to the round. I think they did a good job, again, running that clock down, spreading it, spreading the cover. Once they move in towards market, that timing is near perfect. The eyes are on B main, the execute's coming in, and both Benji and Rienz turn to watch that angle. They're ready for the fight. But the timing, they're so aware. It's like a clock starts ticking in their head the second they look away from an angle. Okay, we have 5 seconds and someone could be coming through there. They turn, and it's damn right every time. And I gotta give it to Benji Sentinel because this is exactly what we came into this map highlighting about this man. His B holds have been very difficult to deal with. Getting past him is tough. We've seen several attempts at it, destroying the deeper traps using nades and everything like this, but it's just not working. When they come down to taking those fights, he always has the backup, and he's getting ahead 10-5 right now as a Sentinel. And with 7 rounds on the board on defense, I think you can definitely give a lot of credit towards him. Obviously, Miniboo's aggression as well has just been out of this world. Patatek's got 10 assists. Some of that is the knife, but we've seen a lot of good flashes too.
Well, a second round force win, or not force, just investment win. A third round win, and then the round after the pause. That is all that's currently on the board for KC. As said, expectations for their defense have been high, but right now it does look like they're getting shut down by Team Heretics. Having that Thrash available might be able to help them out a bit. But the fact is, it's mostly been those more explosive plays that have actually worked out for them. Look at the 4-man stack initially over onto this A site. Early aggression being taken, a dart thrown over, maybe even a flash as well. I'm not sure if it was thrown out. No, the knife was thrown out instead. But now they are picking up that pace once again in towards one player, but that one player delivers once more.
Yeah, a retake setup from Heretics where they're very ready for KC to come in, dumping those ults, your Thrash right off rip, and some utility as well, but it gets them nothing. They've lost health, nade is through. That might even stop the plan. It might do damage on the back of it if it wasn't in the corner. The bounce was a little off, but Rian's shots weren't. Tamasi, though, stepping up to find some damage, already thrown out his snake bite. It will slow them slightly. We're not going to see it used for the later round. The block off this control, of course, not having the orb, but not having any life left, gets even more in the way. Magnum, the last man standing, 1v3. And we saw Heretics win from this position many times, but they had a smoke to spam through and a slightly better plant position for the spams. Another round found for Team Heretics. This defense just cannot be stopped.
Yeah, and they're so prepared. I've been singing his praises throughout, but Benji's setup, just getting that one kill, and then the rest just comes down to retaking as a team, which they've been excellent as well, especially when they have that man advantage in favor. 7 of the last 8 now going in that advantage, looking like a potential for a 9-3 half. But let's see what sort of response there can be. Obviously, the pause is already being utilized by the side of KC, so not going to be seeing much more from Eng. But I guess at this stage, you almost had to try and have a chat with the team. Now they're setting up on the other side. It's so different, and again, within seconds. I don't even think that was the 5-second mark, and already, Martin is gone.
Barriers up, 5v4. It's like playing an attack side up against Artis. He was so annoying on the side of Na'Vi, constantly posted up with that operator, yet they do it with Miniboo sliding into angles, taking quick duels, not having the escape, but not need. Well, I guess he does. He just did it there. It's dodgeball being played out. He's just so hard to hit, and he hits hard. 8-3, 1 round left, and a man advantage towards the defensive side of Heretics. Pressure is on, but again, they're pushing in towards Benji Fishy.
They did this before. Similar setup. They have cages to protect. Trips put in place to allow him to just sit within this corner. Look, they've actually doubled them up. So even if they shoot one, the other one will catch him. Miniboo dropping another, and they have that fragment to try and hold them back. This is a masterclass from the side of Heretics, but Riant has been caught. Thomasy giving them at least a little bit of an opportunity. 30 seconds left on the clock. Is he really going to try through the smoke? Left. You assume there has to be something else to this Shin having to make a move, otherwise he's going to have to just push straight into the blender, and with the stun leaving him just in a position where I don't even know what they can hope to find. It needs to be a miracle shot, and it isn't going to happen. Shin now with seconds left to spare, and he's going to walk straight into Miniboo as well. An utterly dominant half from the side of Heretics, and KC, they need to wake up.
They absolutely do. This is their map pick, somewhere they've looked good before. Lotus up next, and the devastation that's raining on this side from Heretics. It's coming from these early battles from Miniboo, and when the clock runs down, they're pushing into Benji. There's no safe route for this squad. The upside, well, their attacking half is over. Maybe that's the tougher half out of the way. As they move over to the defense, we're expecting numbers to go up in their favor, and we've seen these comebacks into maps. It's not over, but it is definitely in the danger zone for the French fans out there.
So I remember a story in the past about Boo and Miniboo potentially playing together, and Miniboo not being ready. I want to know what not ready is, because this he seems overly ready at this stage, just blitzing through tier 1 opposition. You almost think there must be a load of teams kicking themselves right now who could have picked him up from the tier 2 last year. And now, well, he's probably run riot versus half of those teams.
I think we've seen that a number of times right throughout Valorant's history, but feels a little more on the nose here. Yeah.
What's he been doing for the last year? Nothing.
He's been cooking. My goodness. And it smells good. 9-3. Defensive side for KC about to be tested. And we talked a lot about the holds from Benji fishing Magnum. The Sentinel on the other side. Good snake bite. That should slow them down. Certainly do some damage on the way through. Benji, 30 HP. He ran in to make sure he could trade out his teammate at the very worst. See if that health ends up playing into it later, as some of it was the decay, so he's 74 after that fades away. It's not too bad. It's workable, but he's being chipped away, and that final fight for him seems to be coming pretty soon. He's going to have to scrap on the side, and Martin's quick to take it. Magnum and narrate. Shin wants his piece of the pie too. The whole team gets involved. KC find a round at last.
Yeah, a start that they desperately needed into this second half, and as said, this is where they've done most of their work so far. I think 8 rounds a couple of times, 10 round once in the defense, so they've definitely proven that they can do it. 9-4. Still a long way to go to get themselves back into this game, and with, as said, how fearsome Miniboo has been, you expect him to at least steal a round away. Maybe not this one. He's only going to be left with a classic. Benji, the only one to invest into anything here, and that's mainly just the extra credits he earned from the kill in the last round.
A numbers advantage is going to be pressed towards the spawn. Martin has one hell of a fight on his hands. Paranoia's caught him. He's out of there at least. Body blocked a little, but it's okay. They're safe. The mosh pit's bought them a little bit of extra time. Try to isolate Magnum, perhaps. The flash is good. He's got some support. He doesn't need it. He was about to have a teammate come around the corner, but Tamazi late to the party, and Magnum's already shut off the music. Nice and easy for KC. Cleaned up in an Andalucia. Flawless. 9-5. They're on the road to recovery for sure, but here come the guns for Heretics.
Yeah, this is definitely where things get a little bit more interesting. I will say, for the Heretics side, I'm always happy to see teams putting a little bit more stock in buying a piece of utility rather than just buying an extra ghost or something like that, because that was the plan there, to try and use a couple of extra flashes on Padatek and use Boo's Paranoia for the same. There was a world where they catch a couple of players there. They even get them with the Paranoia, they're just unable to actually convert. But ultimately, KC Weather, the Storm, managed to win those fights. But now is where things get interesting. Now, bear in mind, their weaponry is a bit weaker, so they're going to try and go aggressive. The flash is good, but it does seem like Shin was a little bit ahead of it.
I think it's an awkward enough angle as well when you're trying to quickly pace your way through. The Gecko flash moves quite slow. I think mainly focused on mid there as well. You know, for KC, the disadvantage, it's still workable. But the weaponry weaknesses, 3 Bulldogs alongside a Stinger, they need to keep numbers in favor when fighting, and close range makes it even better. A little ambitious from Miniboo. Perhaps the idea being he's got the information to play off of now. It's a little bit awkward. Thought we were going to have a free kill.
Oh, I think we might. Brian's stuck in a corner. Turning this back into a 3v3. They've only just managed to find Magnum's cam as well, so he's revealed another. I think it's though Benji and Boo still standing. Martin is going to try and get this one to half Benji there on the peak. It will be the round taken for Heretics, but a costly one. A decent amount of damage done with what was Bulldogs and a few SMGs.
True, true. It could definitely open the door to cause problems further down the line for the Heretics squad. KC full buy up and in prime position, but they're at 10-5 down. Needs to be a flawless couple of rounds. Yeah, like you see, that player fighting inside, right? The flash catches him. If he's a step forward, it doesn't. It's unlucky, really, just that Shin doesn't win the fight. He's been decent so far. But Heretics, as you said, they had a slightly shorter route, but without dropping a map, they've made it here, and by the looks of it, they want to continue that trend. This is KC's map pick. They're on double the rounds, and KC are putting all their credits into this one. Sure, there was damage done previously, but this is Heretics' chance to put their foot down. Choke KC out of the series.
Oh, no! Just a little bit of spam. And Thomas, he's already gone. the main defense on the site. A couple of teammates jumping to the aid of Miniboo. Make sure he doesn't get caught out by spams, but the rest of the players are all sectioned out from the site, just trying to reclaim some control into market. Clearing into mid, but Magnum's gone down as well. Again, these spam shots just seem to be doing so much damage. Finally, Narrate is able to find one back. Make things look at least a little bit more competitive, and Miniboo with an uncharacteristic whiff is going to give this back to a possible round for KC.
Oh, the flash is good, though. That's Martin down. Who's going to defuse? Well, there's still a little guy to work with, but they're looking to scrap instead. Narrate finding one, then sending the man out to defuse. He's going to hold it close inside the smoke. He's got the first. That's a third kill in the round and a chance to take it all the way. But Patatek interrupts him at the worst possible moment. 11-5. It comes close, but again, we tip the balance in favor of Heretics. 2 more rounds to close this out and start the series off 1-0 on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, I think that comes down to just the last bullet. A little bit unlucky. I also think Boo maybe got baited a little bit by the just forgetting that he has a wingman, because he goes running through like, he's defusing when he's still holding on to it. 11-5 though. Heretics firmly in the lead, sending Miniboo out as a one-man tank, leading that charge. Now the fact is, although the weapons are weak, the read from KC is spot on. 4 players on this side of the map. They're hearing the drone, they're hearing the noise. They're going to know that they've got this one right.
Everybody's waiting. No one wants to make that first move for KC. They've got the numbers here, right? You just hope that Heretics burst through. They have control across the map and a cam as well to spot market. There's no need to over-rotate. They'll put most of their eggs in one basket.
Revealing area.
Now it's time. The utility's coming. They know they've made the right gamble. They still need to see the reward for it. Martin, the first to find a kill, and clean onto Benji Fishy. Damage done onto Boo. The kill only 1 before the trade comes through. This is looking nasty. Boo even contemplating bailing out of here with the ultimate, and indeed he will. Sending it to their spawn. They've heard him. They're close enough. Shin has that information to play with. The players also moving into spawn. The cross here, dangerous. It's being watched by so many of KC's players. You still have Martin and Magnum holding strong and keeping Patatek back. And the crossover for Boo. He might think he's got the sight, but actually, there's someone here waiting for him. The rotate's already come in from Shin. The angle's a little off. Couple seconds left, and he's got him. Surely now he can just defuse it. So far away, Patatek doesn't stand a chance. Knife out, he's running, but he'll never get there in time. And the nade, well, it comes in after the round is already over. A disaster for Team Heretics. It's KC back on the board.
Yeah, fantastic read coming out from them to have that initial stack up, and it just becomes a little bit panicky. I don't mind the initial TP spot. I was thinking that'll be a position where they could sort of pincer the players if they try and rotate.
Yeah.
The only problem is the time. Like, eventually it got to a point where Boo had to try and move, and Shin was just waiting for a player to go for the plant. Heretics, even though it's only, what, the first buy round that we've actually seen go in their opponent's favor, they're going to take an early pause. Finance is definitely a little bit on the brink for them, and if they're going to try and risk it and do some damage here, they're going to want to have a talk with the coach.
Well, the smile's no longer on the faces of the Heretics coaching staff, but they don't need to feel too tense just yet. A 5-round lead that can quickly slip away from you in a game like Valorant. A couple mistakes, and KC are right back on you. But for Heretics on this attack side, you have to think that round is coming. Miniboo's been a little bit quiet. They've shut him down a couple of times in the last few rounds. And eventually, he will find his mark. He'll show up. I have to say Rian's as well. I feel like when he's put back against the wall into a corner, he's able to punch out and at least take 2 down with him a lot of the time. He's been having some really good rounds, I think, especially with Benji on B on the defensive side. It's been very impressive to watch. So much more needed from this squad. A couple seconds left before we get into the thick of it. For KC's defense, Thrash is online. Some sort of a safety net to fall back on.
As I said, a lot of their strengths on the defensive side did come down to their retakes. If this lands outside the map, I'm going to laugh so hard. We just follow it the whole way.
It's good. It's good. Great. Well, the camera's not there, I'll tell you that.
If it was, that would have looked really cool. Unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah.
So, I don't mind.
Magnum just watched that land. Look, nice try.
Yeah.
Nice try.
They've missed their shock dart. How'd you know? I saw it.
Big stuns on the back of sight, but Shin again, he's going to have his head screwed on properly.
Oh, the timing!
No one's watching! That's such a big gap! They've left it wide open for KC, and it's capitalized on. Now spraying through smoke, Rienz is down. And this Heretics hold. Plant in that same position, spam through the smokes. Well, it needs to be damn good to get out of this one. Miniboo hits a few shots, but not enough. 11-7, the gap down to 4.
Yeah. Again, weaponry weak, but that was still a scenario where you felt like there was an opportunity once they got into the post plant, until a second later Shin peeks into the entire team facing the wrong way. So maybe a few slip-ups here and there. But ultimately, everybody wanting to try and retreat. It's unfortunate as well, because coming into the round, Paditech was the one with the rifle. So although it drops into somebody else's hands, if he's facing the right way,
Boys, let's go. Come back.
they actually could have taken that one. Starting to believe. 4 rounds the difference, and well, a streak of 4 rounds for KC on their defense in series versus other team has been nothing. For now, though, I am looking at the ults that are available. Overdrive for Miniboo. But more importantly, having Null Command now online with that orb taken, and the Hunter's Fury. That's where you can easily see a little bit of ult spam taking over the round. It looks like that they might be opting to try and challenge into middle. That's where the majority are going at the moment.
Yeah, slow bleed into this control. We saw the smoke put up top mid, blocking them off, but KC have got some wide coverage with their traps on this round. Understandable, considering the stack. And I mean, it's rare to see so many players on that A side off of next to nothing. I mean, a full retake attempt. They must have their ideas on the back of it, and I think some element of it is Paditech. He can break down their utility, blitz in, and he better do a damn good job, or someone on Heretics better, because they are shifting to the wrong side of the map, straight into A. Ult pop. Now, this is on C. He's running it through. The cam is above him. It's not being blocked out, and it's actually seen him. Okay, it's destroyed, but only one player there. No more noise heard. They're sticking on A. They haven't fallen for it at all. In fact, they're primed and ready to duel. Heretics are the ones caught off guard, you would think. The spike is down in the open. 2 players protecting. 10 seconds to get that spike planted. They need to go for it now with a cross from Shin. He's down. Only a couple seconds to plant. The coverage needs to be there, and it's not. The pistol out for Boo, and it's too late. The time already gone. Another for KC, not down and out of it yet. The gap is now 3.
Yeah, I do feel like they're a little bit unlucky, because in most cases you are going to have your Cypher in that position, unable to check that cam, but it's the round where KC just put all their eggs in one basket, look to play the retake, and because of that, they have everybody sat there waiting. And obviously Paditech's just a little bit too far behind to really have much impact in the round.
Let's go, boys!
The concept good, but unfortunately for Heretics, it looks like a blunder from afar. Well, that streak of rounds really starting to build up for KC. Financially a good spot, ultimate points in a great spot. One off of Viper's Pit, Showstopper, Thrash online already. And unfortunately for Heretics, they're back down to the pistols.
A lot of weaknesses in this round. Really nice to see KC playing the big brain version of Valorant. Cypher other side, bait out that ultimate from Paditech. Round falls to pieces. Now that's a good adaptation, a good read, but there's plenty more to be seen. Again, that shock dart thrown through, and again, the camera stays alive. Repositioned a couple times, directly above the door. I think we've seen it here before for sure. Maybe a little bit left in the last round, but for Heretics, it means that while they think they're robbing KC of information, they're absolutely not. KC are a step ahead. They know what control they've given up, and now they know this player's in market. Now the alarm bells start to ring. It's pretty clearly a B hit, but they're trading out the numbers. Magnum on 5 HP definitely does get worrying, but we just saw Thrash pulled into the arm of Narrate. He's going to use this to clear out market completely. Going to the side, in fact, fully committing, and he's caught Benji. They need to be quick if they want to capitalize on that space, and the problem is, if they're quick, they might just run into Miniboo. Plan's still not found. A couple of seconds left to get this done. Mosh pit burned out of them. Good kill from Minibu. He doesn't know there's a player up top, and that is awkward. But it gets there in the end. Showstopper for the spike. The round secured now. The question, how much damage can Benji Fishy get away with? And it's almost all of them. The time is the only thing that saves KC from a possible blunder of a round. In the end, they'll even get Benji.
Yeah, that's all right for his finances. It's probably the better thing in the end, but a nice amount of damage. It's one of those things where I'm looking at this round, and all in all, it isn't bad for Heretics. Like, they go in with pistols and one rifle, one player survives on the other side, and they burned up 2 pretty high-impact ults. So I feel like KC may be feeling the pressure a little bit in that one, but even still, they keep the 4-round streak going. Both teams now having both of their pauses used to the attacker side. It's clear where they feel the confidence. As it's looking like we could be seeing back-to-back dominant defensive halves. That said though, that Hunter's Fury has been online for a while. I'm still yet to see that true Minibu round. It's coming eventually. I don't know when, but he always seems to have at least one.
I think as well, though, looking at KC, you can think on their attack, there's always going to be that round that is the light at the end of the tunnel. Being able to farm up those ultimates, play a super high impact. You've got your Viper's Pit, you've got your Showstopper, you've got Thrash. Those things can be so impactful if dumped into a round. For Team Heretics, it's not as easy to find that value. We saw Patatek's ultimate, you know, it relies on them not being ready. For example, having Magnum repositioned, it was a retake on B, but that ultimate will get you onto site in the best of scenarios. But they used it to try and play the mind games, which didn't work out. It's not an ult that can punch through a site reliably, like some of the other ones in play for KC. But that's where Heretics should be making up for it in the round to round. The utility they've got in their belt hasn't been landing as much as we'd like to see. 2-round gap now, Viper's Pit used up, and this is a big headache for the attacking side. The control taken. I mean, even look at the fallback for this squad now. If they want to leave elbow straight through a pit, and that is a dangerous thing to do, especially with Magnum lurking.
I like where they've placed the trip though, because it at least allows them a chance to go back, because they'll know if somebody's pushed that far forward. The thing is the other utility that's in play, and now, yeah, now they are in that exact predicament. They either have to go forward or they have to go back past players. Magnum may be aware of the potential of them being in this position, but they haven't made a whole lot of noise. And almost just pausing here might actually start to put a few doubts in the minds of their opponent.
Well, you speak about that, yeah. You see the rotation no longer got Magnum in the pit covering the back. Instead, he's falling back, checking his cam, seeing there's no one on B, but they're now out of position a little bit on A. Narrate gives up the control. The post plant will be played for. The retake attempt, by the looks of it, is where KC want to rely on this round. It hasn't gone according to plan to start with, but they're not going to throw themselves at this and let it slip away. Hunter's Fury used, massive damage. He could get a kill. He could get 2. KC didn't need this now. A hero has to step it up, and it's Magnum or Shin. 11-9. And Carmine Corp have their back against a wall. Great flash. That might have brought them back in. The ult used, the hat off the head to reveal these players, Rians and Benji. Both known quantities now. It's KC's choice on how they want to approach this. Recon gone through, it's revealing them both. It's causing problems that Benji's capitalizing on. And with 70 HP and a lot of time left against him, Magnum's out of here. 3 kills and a save call made. Team Heretics have put it 12-9. Now 1 away from stealing a map that at halftime looked like it was in the bag. It almost jumped back out.
New Rian's picture coming up. A little bit less. I feel like he was better dressed yesterday, I'll be honest.
You think so?
Yeah.
Didn't put a suit on for the finals?
No. Unlucky. This was an unbelievable ult, though. The amount of damage on the initial hit. Like, there's no assists there. That's all Rian's doing the damage. And although there was a nice attempt, solid paranoia through from Shin, it isn't quite going to be enough for them to take this round back. OT guaranteed, but the map not yet. It has been a bit of a break from the scoreboard for Heretics. And even now, you look at the finances, Boo's had to go down to a Guardian, reserve cash only on Miniboo. Looking like they might pick up the pace here, Mitch, as they've headed right into the B site.
Well, yeah, the pace has been picked all the way up, and the idea here that the lurking support player can hopefully pick up a couple he might just get some value for money, because remember, Heretics have been so good at running the clock down. Miniboo's going to try to take that opening duel, slide back. I don't even know how Benji's picked that one up. He's caught Magnum through a cage. And a big problem now, because they're going to be so focused on pushing forward, on dealing with these players, on recovering that rifle from Miniboo, and putting pressure onto the spike, because time is low. All the while, this slow rotation comes through from Patatek. It could have massive impact. If they can just run it down, it's already halfway. Stuck. Half the sprays need to land, and okay, the player's being pulled off it. Now the flank from Patatek should secure the round. Rian's with another, a 2 versus 2, but time is of the essence for this squad, and they're down to the 1v1. Rian's with the reveal. He doesn't need a peek, he goes out. The time is low, but it's halved already, but never mind. Not enough on the clock to get it done. Team Heretics 13-9. They haven't lost a map yet, and they won't here. 2 more to close out the grand final.
Yeah, it seems like KC might have just met their kryptonite. They're still struggling to get even close to this team, but we'll see if they can do it in map 2 after the break.